Good morning, everybody. Mike Wright from Edge Home Finance, and I am honored to have Kat Gilbertson from the Collective
Hi, Mike.
as our Realtor of the Week.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic. I have appreciated our friendship.
Good.
And the coolest thing is how I met her was a marketing technique by realtors, which doesn't happen in our area, right? I got a door hanger, and I'm like, oh my God, that's fantastic that somebody would come out and market our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, and
Of course.
It's a good technique. The piece was great and
Had
simple.
to find a way to make everybody touch it before it hit the garbage can, right?
Yeah.
If it goes in your
Yeah.
mailbox, sometimes it goes right in there. But wanted a way, even though it cost me about 50 miles of walking around our neighborhood
Well,
door
you
to
know.
door, got a few steps in, but wanted to make sure that at least someone had to physically touch it and hang on to it for
Yeah.
a minute before they could discard it. And it worked. I got a handful of calls out of it.
Nice,
So,
fantastic. Well, it was a great, classy piece.
well, thank you.
So tell us about how did you, real estate, your background, where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up northern Minnesota, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota area.
Sure.
So born and raised Minnesotan. Since then, I've had a nearly 20-year career that took me in a lot of different places. So
Yeah.
after college, it brought me to the Twin Cities, which is where I kind of started adult life and started a career. Had the pleasure to work with Target Corporation for about a decade.
Good.
In different levels of field leadership. I got to move and opened Target stores throughout Alberta for the Target Canada project. Then from there, got recruited by Apple, and it brought me back to the Twin Cities.
Wow.
And so I worked for Apple for the next 8 years, primarily focusing on iPhone launches and operations and all those kind of
Corporate.
exciting merchandising
Yeah.
from the tech and Apple space during a very exciting time at Apple, right, in
Yeah.
a hyper growth phase. Then went a little bit different direction right before COVID hit, which changed the whole world. Left the corporate environment and became a multi-unit business owner. I was a franchisee for a handful of years with locations throughout the Twin Cities, but COVID changed the landscape and changed the world and made things a little more challenging in that regard. So we decided to exit that business. And
Yeah.
since then, have dove in both feet into real estate. And so
love it.
over that 20-year period, I just quickly recapped, have been a passive real estate investor, or I've, bought, sold, flipped,
Yeah.
designed, changed, you name it.
Good.
And it's truly like a passion project for me. So I've made a career in leading businesses and leading people and trying to find a way later in life to marry those two things. And here I am.
Well, and you balance it. I mean, it's such a different world, corporate versus real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to touch base on an important part of your life.
Yeah.
Your three beautiful kids.
I do have 3 kids.
And
yes.
a hubby that is supportive of you through all this stuff.
It can be challenging sometimes. I went from 0 to 3 kids very quickly.
Yeah.
So I had my daughter, and then 2 years later, we welcomed twin boys.
Yeah,
So went
boy.
from 0 to 3 kids in 2 years. That changes the landscape of things. We filled up the house we built very quickly.
Yeah, right.
So of course, I mean, with any job, whether it's being a full-time parent, whether it's being a real estate agent, working in the corporate world, that's a very, very hard balance, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But my home is the crazy part of my life. No matter what happens in work world or anything crazy that comes up in a transaction, it's still the calmest part of my day. So we'll put it that way.
No, and it's so cool. I've got a dear friend of mine, Kelly Tankey.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Who is started a podcast
Yeah.
on women with kids
Mm-hmm.
and how they balance that work life and family life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's you can go, from 5 o'clock in the morning till 11 at night.
Right?
How do you find that is, especially with newborns, or how old are you, the twins?
My twins are 4 now, so we've
Okay.
left, thank
Got it.
goodness, toddler and newborn terrorism behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is a balance, and I think is I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Since I
Sure.
was 15, had some kind of side hustle or multiple stream of income,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be, but was really the driving force to make entrepreneurship or real estate my career wasn't that I didn't want to be a working mother, right? I
Right.
have to provide for my family. I want to work. I want to do those things. But even though real estate is 24/7, there's a sense of freedom that you don't get in a corporate world where you're kind of, you're locked into your team's account from 8 to 5, whatever it may be. And I wanted the ability to continue to run my business, even if that is 24/7,
Right.
and still be present for the things that I was having trouble being present for as a corporate senior level position. You're gone. You have big responsibilities and hundreds of people whose income and lifestyle depend on you, right? And that's a lot of pressure as well. So it's really just a different lens. I don't work any less. I probably work more. It's just at different times.
Well,
right?
and the cool thing about it is Kat's a neighbor, right? And they live in a beautiful area. And so that balance you've been able to maintain. But I love that because real estate allows you, if the kids don't feel good, you don't have to call your boss and say, I'm out today.
Yeah, I have to call my mother-in-law sometimes.
Yeah,
but don't tell me that.
I know the deal. I got 2 grandkids. I love it. And it's, but that's that love. And your husband, obviously, he must work?
Yep.
Okay.
My husband is an accountant with Optum United Healthcare.
Sure.
He gets to bring the stability to our family. I like to bring the excitement.
And we're going to deviate a little bit.
Sure.
At Optum, does he go into the Minnetonka office?
He used to until COVID, and now he's been working in our home office ever since.
That is the craziest thing because that building is an enormous building.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And it's like a ghost town.
I know.
I guess there's that, insurance world that is amazing. So he is tolerant of you and your flexibility. And if you got to get out at night,
so be it. Right? So be it.
So tell us about Woodland Cove, Minnetrista. Well, no, I got a question for you. Yeah. Detroit Lakes.
Yep.
How many fish? Are you a pretty good fish girl or what?
I am not a fisherman.
Really?
I can't say, even though I grew up in northern Minnesota, I wouldn't classify myself as the most outdoorsy. I say I'm outdoorsy and that I like to drink on boats.
Well,
maybe
I'm starting to like you more and more by the minute.
I do a whole lot of fishing and hunting and that kind of thing, but the kind of up north lake lifestyle has always been something that I really gravitated to. And then, as an adult, where life brought me to the metro area, I really started gravitating towards it again and wound up in the Excelsior, Minnetrista area, kind of living that up north lake life, just a little closer to the city.
Well, and how long have you been in Minnetrista?
We built in 2019.
Okay, so you've seen that area explode.
Yeah, I mean, when we built our house, it was a gravel road with a porta potty across the street.
Isn't that wild?
So it looks a little different than it does right now.
Yeah, and it continues to grow. And
it's wild.
So back to real estate.
Yeah.
And the Collective. Tell us about that company.
Yeah, so it's a newer brokerage in town.
Yep.
It was an agent, now broker, that I worked with as a client prior to being an agent.
Yeah.
So she sold a home. Her name is Jessica Kinsella, broker. She sold my home in Edina prior to moving out to the Minnetrista area.
Sure.
Stayed connected with her, worked at a different brokerage with her for a while, and she decided to split off and start her own brokerage of the Collective, which really is an independent agency for independent agents like myself.
I love it.
To provide support at different levels and different stages of people's career, right? And I think, joining a newer industry 2 years ago, where I'm coming from 20 years of being the boss and the expert, right? Is real estate is foundationally 2 things: relationships and problem solving, right?
Yes.
And I've been doing that my entire life, my entire career. But there's different problems. There's different problems now, and I thought she's been a great partner to me, and being that she's been in this industry 20 plus years herself. So when there's when nuances that come up that I maybe haven't experienced yet, she's been a really great thought partner and expert to lean on in those ways for the nuances of this industry that you learn over time that I haven't had the opportunity to do so yet.
It's so encompassing that when you get into this business, you need that shoulder to lean on.
Yeah.
Right? Because
absolutely.
Stuff comes up. I mean, we're dealing with it right now with this, with the new commission structure, and the litigation on all that stuff. And it's unique for you to have to handle it because you're like going, what?
Yeah, that's all I know, really.
Yeah,
Something
right,
change might
right.
be easier for someone like me than someone that's been around for 2 decades. So.
Yeah, and she can help you through those transitions.
Yep.
How did you come up with the idea of door knocking? Was that, you had mentioned when we talked prior to this,
Yeah.
which I love the term, hyper-local marketing,
Yeah.
right? Because I think everyone has to have that pool of people
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
they can farm.
So, with that, the neighborhood that we're lucky enough to live in,
Yeah.
I hands down believe is one of the best neighborhoods, not only in the area, but the state, the country, you name it.
Right.
I get on just about every soapbox I can and call it the Hamptons of the Midwest.
Right,
And think
right.
everyone deserves to live there. So I don't have to just sell you on that. I believe that. I know every inch of the miles and miles of trails around there. I've put 4,000 miles on my golf cart in our neighborhood in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I think it's a great place. So when you talk about hyper local marketing,
Yeah.
there's no one on earth that can sell our neighborhood as
well
I
as
can.
you do. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I agree.
And I may not have the billboard on my face isn't on the billboard yet.
Yeah.
Driving out there, but that hyper local marketing is I do have an edge because I truly passionately know the builders, the build process. I've built with some of the builders out there, have relationships with the other builders. I know what you can get for your money. As we briefly talked about before we got started today, it's also an area that it's hard to comp from a real estate perspective, right? Because there's pockets in the neighborhood that have different amenities, different tax structures, different everything, and there hasn't been a whole lot of turnover yet, right?
Correct.
So it's in the comping. It's not a science. It's not.
Right.
We'll put it that
Well,
way.
you're competing with new construction so much.
Yeah, and the different pockets are just not comps of each other, and I am so hyper familiar with that, and able to not only talk through potential sellers but potential buyers of our neighborhood to sell not only the structure and the lot but the lifestyle, because that's a huge component of where we live and the different amenities that it offers.
I think that one of the beautiful things about the hood is that there's kids and lots of kids, and yet there's also me and others that are there that are no kids, right? Kids have grown up, right? And so it's a cool mix. And so there was a lot of activity at an open that's right next to your house. There is activity at the price points anywhere from 500,000 up to 2 million, 3 million? What do you think?
So, the house you're referring to, there's on Woodland Cove Parkway, was a great friend of mine whose house transacted for around 2 million. It's just considered a lake overlook home.
Right.
So it is right on lake shore, but you're not going to have your docks right off of your property because of protected shorelines and things. But so there's, in that pocket of the neighborhood, there's lake access homes where you're maybe across the street with a lake view, beautiful new construction homes, but you have your own private dock, marina quality docks with boathouses across the street. And those are transacting, kind of depends, but around 1.5-ish, 1.5 to 1.7 range. You get on the lake and you're starting about 2 to 3 million.
Right.
And then there's houses that they just built, beautiful estate-like homes on a point that have not turned over yet. But I have to imagine that those will be in an 8-figure price point range when the time comes. So it's a really neat place.
You had mentioned it yourself, which I think is so cool. So many golf carts. Right? And because one of the great things about Woodland Cove is that we've got 2 pools, right? And they're community pools. The one near Cat is the larger of the 2. But oftentimes with the kids, it's nice to throw them in a golf cart. Let's go. Let's go to the pool, or let's go to friends. And you don't have to worry about them walking around. It's just quick, easy, throw them in a cart. And with the slips, you can leave your golf cart there.
Gotta love golf cart parking. Drive it right down the path. And leave it right outside the secure entry to the dock. So it truly is, you get the magic of living on Lake Minnetonka without the price tag associated with it, right? You put these lake access homes in our neighborhood across the street on the lake, right? And they double or more in price, right? And taxes and everything else. And so it's really it's like the best of both worlds.
One of our neighbors recently sold their slip. the price point of that slip blew me away.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they're
again, it's right there.
Yeah.
We had our boat there at Rockfam for a while.
Yeah.
Right? The problem is it's great in and out, but then you got to drive home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you have the slip in a golf cart,
Yeah.
home you park.
The great thing about these homes too is there's certain pockets of the neighborhood where you can rent out your slip too.
Yeah,
So not necessarily, it's not an open market. It's only per the HOAs in
Right.
certain pockets. But the value of those, if you're not a boat person or not going to be this year, the price tag on those are selling to for $7,000-8,000, or excuse me, renting for $7,000-8,000 a year just to let someone use it, right?
And that's and that to be honest with you, we paid $8,000 at Rockfam, in out service, winterization, etc.
Yeah.
So the convenience of having that right there.
Absolutely.
So I know you have a home coming soon.
We do.
We can't get into addresses, but please feel free to call Kat if you want to get into this area. I mean, it is a explosive area right now. There's Buddy Boys, there's Grumpy's, there's all these different places. You're close to Victoria, Waconia, Excelsior.
Yeah.
Tell us as much as you can about this property coming on the market.
All right, a little teaser.
Yes.
It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, 3-car garage built by Stonegate in 2019.
Okay.
Besides the bedroom, also has a separate office as well as workout area.
Oh, nice.
Walkout basement with a backyard as flat as a pancake. The neighbor just put in a pool, which is beautiful, so it's definitely pool ready if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But beautiful lot, backs up to a pond. So there's no neighbor looking in your back windows.
Beautiful.
With Lake Minnetonka across the street with own private slip with permanent boathouse and the whole works. So coming on market 30 to 45 days, working on some listing prep right now.
Yeah, I love
to
it.
make it look new construction again after 5 years, fresh carpet, things like that. But hoping to be on market in October, coming on about 155.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah, very excited about that one.
No,
We're hoping it. I think it's going to be something that sells really quick. It's a no-brainer when you look at the amenities and the access to the lake. Just it's an investment up front, but to invest in that lifestyle pays dividends in the summers to come.
And we found, I've worked a number of open houses in that area, and people don't have a problem right now to check, right?
For the right thing.
I want this thing, and we're going to build, or we're going to remodel, or we're going to just keep it as is, because that's a gorgeous home.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a new construction with style. It's not your kind of boring builder grade, right? Stonegate is more of a luxury builder and builds a fantastic product as is, right? But over 5 years, you move in and you got a little bit of style and then like lived in nature. It's not all gray walls, right?
So Stonegate and M&I.
M&I is the other builder in the neighborhood currently.
And they're continuing to build closer to Highway 7. Tons of lots. I think they're building 500 and some homes.
Yeah, the final phase of the development is considered the Meadows, which is a subdevelopment of Woodland Cove, and that is where they're at right now. And that last edition is half Stonegate, half M&I, with their signs post with homes starting in the 600s. But this audience, we all know how new construction works. It's probably going to be a bit north of that once you get rolling. But and that on the M&I side, and then to get in on a Stonegate home, we're going to start closer to 900 or so. But beautiful lots, beautiful area, same amenities that we've all talked about before.
Families, pools, pickleball recently.
Pickleball, 4 playgrounds, and 13 miles of paved trails all within the development.
The paved trails are amazing.
All of them. It's so cool to me that they wind through protected wooded space, so you don't have to worry about it, being torn down and townhomes going up on there. Right? Is it's protected space, and to whether you're a biker, a walker, a golf cart rider, whatever it is, I spend a portion of every single day on those trails, and one of those form factors, whether it's for exercise, to escape from my family, or to bring my family with on a little before bedtime golf cart ride, is one of our favorite traditions that we've created as a family.
So now you talked about, especially being from Detroit Lakes, there is a pod of people that want to keep their homes here and build second homes, cabins up north.
Absolutely.
How's that little niche been for you?
Yeah, you know.
Or niche, as you say, right? Niche,
whatever.
Potato.
I think there's a couple of things. You attract your dreamy client either on purpose or by accident, right?
Yeah.
And anyone getting started in this business starts in their sphere of influence, their friends, their neighbors, you name it, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's listing the house in my own neighborhood, or whether it's, working with people I've known for 30 plus years, looking to purchase cabins back where we grew up, or whatever it may be, is I am finding myself growing a niche, whatever you
right.
in that northern Minnesota cabin buyer or relocation buyer, and it's because I get truly excited about it. So I have a client right now I'm working with purchasing a investment cabin. It's short-term rental and family cabin that they'll be using that from someone I grew up with, and it is setting my heart on fire right now, where I feel like I can marry this kind of big city energy with my small town roots, and helping people find not only great investments but assets that can be making memories with their family. And I think is a part of my business hasn't quite built out enough in my brain to talk about in full, but something that I'm looking to do up in that North Minnesota market is to create another line of business really around calling it like a cabin concierge, and helping people realize how they can create wealth through short-term rentals as well as cabins, and have it pay for itself, right? If they're willing to put their money into the right things. And so my business is expanding a little bit back into the North Country a little bit, but would love to be that go-to agent, whether it's as a referral partner to, hyper local metro agents that need a trusted person to send their clients to, or people looking to relocate, whatever that may be.
It's interesting because I just read an article about a guy who has a person from Edina. He hopped on a plane, flew up to Rainy Lake. Right? Took care of the transaction, but he found an agent up there. Because you're not going to fly up there all the time.
Exactly.
Find a hyper-local person up there. And where do you see yourself? I know that you've tried a number of different things, whether door hanging, whether it's just being social. What is your mojo? I mean, is it you got Edina, you got corporate, you got up north. Are you a dialer? I mean, are you on the phone all the time? How do you stay in touch?
I can't say that picking up the phone all the time is my favorite form of lead generation, right? And to be completely honest with you, Mike, that is something that's evolving over time, right? This market is different than a few years ago. How we attract clients, the number of clients that are out there, it's all changing, right? So I wish I could sit here confidently with you and be like, this is my secret sauce, this is what's happening. But I'm still developing that too, right?
I love it.
And I think the best kind of piece of advice I got as someone that, I used to have director in my title. I used to do big things, and I'm kind of starting over as a rookie, right? I am starting over as a rookie, we'll put it that way. And this is the type of business where you have to, a lot of people join this industry later in life, not straight out of college or whatever.
Of course.
And it's you're having to start over and do everything very publicly. Right?
Of course
so you're not going to work in a cubicle. You're going to work on social media. You're going to kind of put your face where everyone can see. And you have to put yourself out there, right? And a big part of my journey in that has been, is humility. Making sure, right, that I know there's a confidence to know what I bring, right, with 20 years of different experience coming into this industry, but at the same time, humility enough, being humble enough to know when I need direction and when I need help, and also humble enough to know when I need to shift directions, right? So as I'm navigating this new job, new industry, new journey is I'm absolutely creating that over time, and so I don't have a secret sauce or recipe to put out here for anybody, and I'm figuring that out as I go too.
Well, and I think that's why Kelly is doing these podcasts, because how do people do this, right? I mean, with a family, there's fires
Yeah.
all the time,
Right.
right? And with you want to get out and about, you want to live a balanced life, yet you got a real estate world
Right.
that you can't be quiet. You can't disappear every weekend.
Right.
You can't have every evening with the family and the kids because your clients, they got their own needs.
Yeah, we don't buy houses all the time Monday at lunchtime, right?
Yeah,
It's
right,
nights,
right,
weekends, midnight, 4 a.m., you name it. So,
Yeah.
And I think, well, that can sometimes be a challenge, of course, is, I haven't had a job, we'll put it this way, since I graduated college where someone didn't call me on nights and weekends.
Yeah, right,
So like
right,
managing
right.
that, that's just something I've always done, right? I am very, very fortunate in that my spouse and I have a very equal partnership when it comes to parenting, right? That,
Beautiful.
It doesn't upset our family flow when mom has to be gone at night, or mom has to, I had to run north for the weekend
Yeah.
a couple weekends ago
Yeah.
to be there for clients that I'm working with, and that's just part of the business,
Yeah.
right? I also spent 20 years having to get on a plane and fly to Chicago or wherever for meetings, right? And it's just a different way of looking at it.
What you like this industry?
I do. It honestly kind of sets my heart on fire.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my favorite parts of my career leading up to this, it's always been about the launch or the merchandising. And
Right.
like, so for example, if I really lean into my time at Apple, I was there during Apple's time of hyper growth, right? So I
Yeah,
joined
right.
the company right before the launch of the iPhone 6, which was the first major form factor change for the iPhone.
iPhone 6?
iPhone 6, I'm aging myself a little bit
That's
there,
right,
but
yeah,
the company lit on fire almost
Right.
when that phone launched, and every single day to go into stores with teams, you had to be a chameleon of matching people's energy, right? 'Cause, 6 months into the launch of this phone, I was exhausted. I didn't want to go in anywhere and battle lines of people. But every single day, you had to prepare to launch a phone again and again and again, because the people lining up outside the doors, it was their first day looking at the iPhone. And that's something I really take into my experience with real estate, is
Yes.
to generate buzz, launch it every single day until it's sold, and match the energy that people are bringing in. So sometimes that's a nervous energy, sometimes that's excited energy, whatever it may be. But every single listing, every single client is a chance to launch another product. And that's really how I look at it.
Beautiful. No, I love because I've never would have figured tying that all together.
Right.
And you did it so seamlessly that it's like, wow.
The other thing, I've always been a merchant, right? I've been
Right.
working in the, business world directly with your frontline customer. And merchandising is all about telling a story. It's not just about selling a product, right? And that's another thing that I tie into a lot in this process. The story we told about, our neighborhood and why I'm so passionate about it. That's part of the story, right? Is we're going to have beautiful
part of it.
pictures and drone footage and all that thing to let you see the structure and let you see the land. But that doesn't tell you about the lifestyle and how you're going to live.
Yeah.
And that is a huge component when people are deciding about where they're going to buy property, right?
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
that's really where I'm tying back my experience as a tried and true 2-decade merchant to talk about, how do I tell the story of this house, not just take beautiful pictures.
Yeah. No,
So-
and I love it because I think that the drones and all that stuff are beautiful, but you can't show we moved into the neighborhood. We bought a model.
Yep.
It was 4 years ago.
Okay.
And we have fallen in love with the paths, Waconia,
Yeah.
Victoria, Excelsior, all communities that are growing in a different way.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, like I mentioned, Buddy Boys earlier, Joe and Jen, but that area is going to explode.
Yeah.
And Highway 7 is going to explode.
And it is exploding,
And
right?
They've got Mac and Thune's new grocery store out there, liquor
Right.
store.
The big city conveniences are making its way out there, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah, I love
the one drawback to our neighborhood for a while is it took 15 minutes to get to Cub Foods or whatever
Right,
else,
right,
and the kind of local commercial space areas is starting to take off and explode too, right?
Yeah,
With bakeries, coffee shops, liquor stores, grocery stores.
Right.
everything is in planning stages, but there's likely a daycare coming in, all those type of things that you can drive your golf cart to right up the street. So
I've been an advocate of wine bar. I'm just saying, that's me. I mean, hey.
For some reason, we keep talking about cocktails this morning.
I know. Well, believe me, welcome.
It's Monday morning, but I'm with you as well. Wine bars, whatever it may be, but it's a great little spot.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
That is such a hard question to ask. And I'll tell you a little story. 5 years ago, if you would have asked me that question, I don't know if I would have landed with this is what I'm going to be doing in a million years, right? So I tread lightly on where do I see myself in 5 years, but I think what I'll say is where I see myself as being I was kind of a expert in my industry, well respected, well known before. I see myself there in 5 years, absolutely here, right? I want to come back in 5 years and talk about the billboard you see of me on 494 or whatever it may be. But there's some hustle and grind that's got to take place in the next 5 years to be one of those titans of local industry, those power women whose names are probably all popping into our head as I say that. And I want to be one of them.
Well, and if you ever need help, I door knock with you. But that's how we have to do it.
Right? We'll put our sneakers on and get our steps.
You get after
I love it.
But I mean, it's as long as it's not snow. You ain't going to see me around many times during the snow.
All right, sounds good.
But that's how you have to do it. And so the collective, how involved is she with your business? I mean, is there business planning that you guys sit down with? Or is she saying you're on your own? I'm here for problems.
Yeah. So I think that what I really liked about the brokerage is she is also a chameleon of energy. Like I said, she can kind of meet you where you want to be met, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great spot for people if they're an independent agent. Let's say you don't exactly know what you want to do with your license. Hang it with her for a while, right?
Yeah.
I very actively use her as a thought partner. I
love it.
Let's sit down. I just want you to check a couple of things on this contract to make sure that I'm thinking through it correctly. So whether it's an expert to ask about the line 250 or something on some contract, or whether it's a random thought on my drive home and saying, does this make sense? I'm thinking about doing this, or let's talk about my business plan, poke holes in it for me. So I am really using her not only as an industry expert, but a thought partner and a business coach.
Business coach you nailed it, because there's going to be times where you're going to be down, right? And you experience that already, but there's also going to be times where you're going to be at home, kids are here, you're going, oh God, do I need to go do this, but you need that coach,
right?
To accountability partner, to get you moving.
Exactly. There's it's a kind of the joke is you leave the stable income, had a high-paying, steady job where that same paycheck shows up every 2 weeks and the same bonus check shows up at Christmas, no matter how hard you hustle and grind, kind of. And that's a change, but it's also the part of this business. Well, it's on the pro and con side of the list for me. We'll put it that way. Because I've this lack of stability can be hard sometimes, especially with the family and all that. But it's also the fire in my belly in the morning and that kind of hustle and grind culture that I've always been a part of, and kind of the scrappiness that I really like. Right?
I've done it for a long time. Pure commission is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. There's times where you're going, holy shit, I don't have a check coming. I got to get my ass moving, right? And Jake is I talk about this every podcast. I'm always promoting Jake, right?
Yeah, okay.
He is my business. He's my business motivator, because I get down, right?
Yeah.
I've done it for 35 years. I still get down, right? But the passion of seeing a happy client,
right, and
the pride you take in a great review is so rewarding,
right? And
then they turn and give you business.
Exactly. I mean, it has to be the biggest referral based business ever, right? Because these are big emotional decisions for people, whether that's your primary home, you're going to raise your kids, or your next investment, whatever it is. They're giant purchases, and that kind of thrill of the excitement, I love to be able to live that over and over and over again with people.
You came into this business at a wicked time, right? I mean, prior to you hopping into the business,
right?
rates are 2-3%, right? And you're like, oh shit, what am I'm at 8? Like, what is going on?
Right.
But that has been it's the same thing with the commission structure thing we talked about, with by representation, and you need to come with your proposal.
Yeah.
What is my value? But it's been beautiful for you, because now all of a sudden we're going to start to see a market where interest rates are dropping. They started last week. We're dropping rates, you know, and the feds are going to come and drop the Fed funds rate this week.
Right.
Whether it's a quarter or whether it's a half, it's going to happen.
Right.
And I think that it is your ability to hop into this, because now you have your feet wet, right? And so it's so critical that you just stay focused with it,
right,
and get on the horn, because this market, I fear, and that maybe, I don't know if I fear it or not, but we're going to get into a dicey market to where every offer is going to have 15 offers. And what is going to make yours stick out versus others?
Yeah. Well, you know, this is something, as I've talked to people about my decision to move into the real estate world, that I got asked this question kind of a lot. What are you doing? It was easy 2 years ago. Why are you deciding to do it now that it's hard? Well, of course, hindsight being 2020, it would have been great to be there then. But how I'm looking at it is harder now. You got to fight for every deal, right?
Yep.
You got to fight for every client. And in this environment, I'm having the ability to learn so much and cut my teeth, that as those rates drop and swarms of people re-enter the market, and the craziness of 2021 returns at some point in the, you know, in the future, whenever that may be, is my teeth are already cut and I'm established and I'm an easy answer, and I am not going to be one of the people that come flooding to the industry once it becomes quote unquote easier again.
I think that from what our friendship has made me learn about you, is you have blended the corporate professionalism, right? Now, whether that's going to corporate world and saying, who's your relocation people, or your Minnetrista people, your Detroit Lakes people, your Edina people, all those are avenues for you to farm.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's an interesting world out here, but I'm learning a ton every single day. You know, every conversation, every transaction, every attempted contract or whatever it's different, it's new, and it becomes so much easier the next time around. So, you know, that the rates going the right direction, not only as a consumer, right, but also as an agent, it's very, very exciting, and I'm very hopeful as I start to create more of a book of business and find my niche and wherever it is when all of the things start to line up, the rates, the inventory, all those type of things, I'm excited to be able to elevate to the level of some of these power women I keep referencing throughout our conversations. So,
well, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on as the Realtor of the Week.
Well, I'm flattered. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
But it all stemmed from the door hanger.
Yeah.
Right? So when you don't think things are going to work, try them. And some are going to work. Some aren't not going to work. I mean, open houses are a big thing right now, because people are actively coming into these areas. And I've worked them. And I thought, there is no way in hell anybody is going to come into a $2.1 million home.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that did, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was crazy. But it's a good thing.
Right.
So just keep being you.
Thank you.
And
I will try.
I love your attention to detail. I love your professionalism.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Well, it was a pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Well, and I know you have to dance a little bit with the kids, and now you also got a meeting thereafter. And
all good. Just part of the. I'm blessed to have good people around me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you ever need help, I'm here.
I will do.
And I'd be honored to help you out and support you.
Thank you.
You guys, thank you very much for coming to our Realtor Connect podcast, Realtor of the Week. I love learning from people that are new into the industry, experienced into the business, and you will find in the videos, if you watch them, is that we try to offer content to you guys to help y'all in this business. And we appreciate you coming. Thank you very much for watching this today. You can also visit us on YouTube and Instagram. Those are under Realtor of the Week. And if you got other realtors that want to be part of the Realtor Connect Facebook group, please feel free to reach out to me. I try to keep that private so you guys don't get bothered. But we get talent like this, and I absolutely love it. So thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks, Mike.
I appreciate you all. Thank you very much, and y'all have a good week.